Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of TheFadShow. So today is an episode that I've been really excited for. I'm going to introduce you to my new to me BMW E39 M5. I'm going to tell you the crazy story of how I acquired this car, and then just give you my initial thoughts and opinions on what it's like to own an E39 BMW M5. So my aforementioned BMW E39 M5 is a 2000 model year pre-LCI in Le Mans blue with the Silverstone Sport interior, which I think is pretty much my favorite combination. I definitely am a fan of the Sport interior vice the luxury interior. I think it just looks a little bit more sporty, less kind of old man. And yeah, I just love blue, and Le Mans blue is awesome. It's kind of got this like deep, like purple to it at night that it's awesome. Love it. But anyways, I just wanted to tell you guys a crazy story of how I acquired this car. I am going to cut to a video of me in the car driving it back from where I bought it in St. Louis. But I was a little bit overwhelmed in the moment, so I don't think I hit on everything. So I'll try and elaborate on that. But essentially, I had just bought a BMW E46 Touring. What I had planned to do was buy an E46 Touring with a clean body, and then buy a E46 M3 convertible, or just a cheap E36 M3 that I could take the drivetrain out of and put in the Touring. I ended up buying the Touring, and then I think the kind of enormity of the project set in for me. The Touring wasn't as clean as I had originally thought when I did my brief overview with it, and then I just kind of realized that I'm not gonna say I was in over my head. Like, I'm pretty sure, given the time, I could do the project, and I may still do the project. I just knew I wasn't gonna finish it before I wanted another fun car. So I guess that's kind of how I ended up with this E39 M5. And I'll now cut to me in the car to explain. So, have you ever had one of those moments in life where something goes completely unexpectedly, but in a good way? That's kind of how today was for me. I was planning on making a video about buying two BMW E46s in 24 hours, and yesterday I did buy a BMW E46 Touring, which was quite an experience. But my plan was to be buying an S54 or BMW M3 convertible to use the S54 out of to swap into the Touring. The Touring I got was a little rough around the edges, not as advertised. I got it for pretty cheap, but I'm thinking it's probably maybe not the car that I want to spend all that time and invest all that money swapping S54 into. But anyways, I already had a plane ticket and had arranged to fly to St. Louis and look at a convertible BMW that had a cracker subframe, and I was going to use the drivetrain. The car was drivable, and I was going to drive it home to Texas. Well, I got off, I guess, yesterday when I bought the Touring. It was quite an alarming experience. The car was advertised as a pristine body car, which it wasn't. The interior is complete trash. Someone had jacked up the car on the floorboard, and there's like a bulge in it. So if this is the car that I'm going to do something with, it is going to be a lot of work, and I'm not really sure if I want to do that with this car. I was kind of on the fence the whole way to the airport, and then flying to St. Louis, but I felt bad for the person I had already made the arrangements with, so I kind of went anyways. I looked at the M3, and the whole time I was looking at the M3, I was like, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling good about the whole endeavor. But the guy picked me up from the airport in his like immaculate BMW M5, E39 M5 Le Mans Blue, which is the car I'm currently driving. Sorry, I am recording on my iPhone because, of course, I forgot to put the memory card in my GoPro. But it's kind of a crazy story. Pretty much ever since he pulled up at the airport and I heard the dying exhaust on the E39, I fell in love with it. And then, like, the drive to his place where the convertible M3 was at, all I could think about was the E39 and not the E46. And I looked at the E46, I found something wrong with it, and that was just like enough to justify not buying it for me. And then I guess as crazy goes, I was talking about the E39 a lot with him, and he had talked about his friend wanting to buy it from him, his friend gave him a price that he declined and said the price is this number, which seemed like a reasonable number for me. So I said, well, this is kind of crazy, but instead of me getting another flight home, because I'm not going to buy the M3, how about I just pay that number you said for the E39 M5, because Le Mans Blue is like my absolute favorite color in these. Kind of always wanted one of these. For a while I've been saying that I really want to get a V8 car, so I think that this is a pretty awesome first V8 car. I mean, I've only driven it, I don't know, maybe like 100 miles so far, but I'm already like head over heels in love with it. Like the sound from this Dyna exhaust is incredible. It has a Dyna short shifter, which is like super, I guess, fun to row through the gears. I'm not actually used to having a shifter so short, so I'm starting to getting used to it. But yeah, so this is kind of just a crazy, I guess, vlog style video of this crazy situation that happened to me. I guess when I get back to the TheFadShow garage, I can explain it probably a little bit better than I am right now, because I'm still kind of just like in awe that this entire situation happened. But of course we'll give the car a once over, and hopefully I didn't do too bad. I mean, I think it's in pretty good shape. Hopefully I got a good price. I don't know. I don't really care. I've been wanting a fun car. I've always wanted E39 M5, and these things are only going up in value. It's definitely a driver car. It has a lot of miles. But yeah. All right. So stay tuned for when I get the car home. Yeah, this didn't go anything like planned. So I think I more or less hit on the general overview of how I got this car. It was definitely a crazy day. It was like one of those days where, I don't know, just one of those crazy things that happens to you that just is completely unexpected, and it ends up being like just really great overall. But I was like, literally, I told the guy that I wasn't going to buy the M3 convertible, which I kind of felt terrible just based on how much we talked about. Everything before that, it was pretty much a sure thing. You show up, make sure the car is as advertised, and then drive it home. But I found one thing that probably was a non-issue, but it kind of steered me away from buying it. And I had actually walked probably like 100 feet down the street, and he yelled to me, "Hey, we had talked before about you being interested in the M5. Would you like to take a look at it while you're here?" And I guess that's how close I was to just getting an Uber back to the airport and flying home. And instead I drove back in this beautiful E39 M5. So my guess is if you're watching this video, the E39 M5 needs no introduction, but the car was originally unveiled at the 1998 Geneva Motor Show, like every car. But yeah, it's a 5-liter or 4.9 liter S62 V8, which is a version of the regular M62, 4.4 liters. I guess I don't know if it's bore or stroke that gets it up to 4.9. But anyways, it has 8 individual throttle bodies, makes 400 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, and of course it only has one transmission option, which is the 6-speed manual, to a limited slip diff in the rear, and it is absolutely amazing. I guess if you've been following this channel for a while, you know I had a 997, 911 before this, and I was never really crazy about that car. Like, yeah, if you got it on a twisty road, it was awesome, but this car, like, I pretty much just fell in love with immediately. Like 10 seconds after driving, I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest car I've ever driven. Like for me, I don't know, just the sound of the V8 is incredible, which I think I have a cold start clip that I can get to. But yeah, the Dyna exhaust in this car is just intoxicating. It has a Dyna short shifter, so it's just so far to row through the gears. It's like super comfortable. You can just feel the quality in this car. Like, people always talk about the sound when you close the G-Wagon door. Like this E39 M5 kind of makes me feel the same way. Like, the funk when you close the door just feels so much solid. I'm actually a crazy nerd too, and I was looking at the door jamb in this car and the beefiness of it, and I was like, damn, that looks huge. I wonder how it compares to the other cars I have. So my 2019 Volkswagen Golf All-Track, that has a 6mm door jamb latch. That 2006 Saab 9.3 Aero has a 10mm door jamb latch, and this 2000 BMW E39 has a 13.9, almost 14 millimeter door jamb latch. So I'm not really sure what that means, but I guess I'll leave that up to you to interpret. But yeah, and then just the looks of this M5. Like I love the looks of the E39 generation cars just in general. For me, like whenever I fall in love with a car, I always like remember the place, the like time and place. And for me, the E39 was actually doing Navy Reserve duty in San Diego, California. And I just remember seeing E39s like all over Pacific Beach, just everywhere. There's a lot of people had E39 M5s. Most of them were, or sorry, not M5s, just E39 sedans. Most of them were silver, whatever, 325, 328, 330, 540, just whatever. And I just remember looking at them and I'm like, damn, that is a good looking car. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I fell in love with E39 body. And for me, you know, if you've been following this channel for any amount of time, I'm kind of wagon crazy, but I think this is like the one generation or like the one model generation of cars that I actually prefer the look of the sedan to the wagon. Like, I don't know, the wagon just looks weird to me where it has like the sloped tailgate glass, but then kind of like a flat tailgate, I don't know what to call it, like metal section or whatever, lower section. For me, it just looks kind of weird. It doesn't look that good. But for this sedan, like I just think it's so sleek. And yeah, I'm already in love with the way it drives. Like here where I live in Texas, I think that's probably why I didn't really like the 911 that much, just because like, yeah, if you got the 911 on a twisty road, it was incredible. But 99% of the time I'm on a twisty road, I'm just riding around town. So for like stoplight, bomb around town, but then being able to spiritedly take an off ramp or on ramp in the times you're there or whatever, I think this car checks all those boxes. I think it's gorgeous. I love the sound of the V8. I love the power. Yeah, there's modern cars that are probably way faster than this, but it was extremely fast for its time. And for me, where I usually just have slow wagons, like it feels incredibly fast. I also really like the styling on this, just how it's not like overstated. Like modern M cars, there's like 8,000 M badges all over the car, and here there's like the M5 badge on the back. There's this tiny little one on the door there, and then I mean I guess it has the normal like M in the cluster in the steering wheel, but it's not everywhere. Like even non-M cars now from BMW, the M Sport versions or whatever have more M badges than this. So I kind of like that. Unless you are a real enthusiast, it's kind of an invisible car. So I hope I haven't rambled too much on this video, but that's just kind of my general overview of the car. There's going to be plenty of videos coming about this car soon. This is a driver's car, so it is by no means perfect. So I will do my normal crazy anal maintenance on it and then try and fix everything I know is wrong with it. There's a few things I found already, but I'm going to make a video going over the entire car and, you know, roasting it for everything I find, because, you know, I like my cars to be pretty much perfect. So I'm sure I'll waste plenty of time and money getting it up to factory standards. I might do some slight modifications too. I'm not really a fan of the pre-LCI steering wheel, so I'll probably change that out for an LCI steering wheel. And I might get a set of angel eyes for it, because the pre-LCI didn't have angel eye. And then also, this has the original sat-nav unit, which I know they make modern E39 Apple CarPlays. I plan on using this car all the time. Like, it is definitely a driver car. It has 155,000 miles on it, so I'm gonna drive it. So I think with that, I'll probably get the modern head unit just to make it a more usable day-to-day basis. So I hope you guys like this video, just an overview of the car. There'll be plenty more to come. And if you really liked it, then please go ahead and like and subscribe, and stay tuned for next time. Thank you. Bye.